off of Etsy from Creative Collection, I think. I'll double check. This one full price is about €200 and I got it on sale for about 50 to 80, I think. I'll double check. Anyway, it's a deck from a game, from a video game. You can hear the hesitation in my voice because the first impressions when I saw this. Hold on, let me get. First of all, it doesn't fit quite in the bag. It you have to really heft it out. It wasn't in order when I got it. It is the Dragon Age Inquisition Tarot. Tarot deck that's in the loading screen when you play the game. Now, we're going to just look at this one first, the backing. The backing's brilliant. But the more in person, this is so faded and like fuzzy, and it's like slightly out of focus on the edges. I understand that. But the camera's helping it. This doesn't help my like strengthen my point. Cardstock, much very, very sturdy. This is based on a kind of Skyrim-like game, but you make up your own character and all that stuff, and these are the characters that you find during the storyline, and you add them to your team and such and such. So, I don't know where to start with this because it's one I've wanted for so long, and then when you get it, you're like, oh, it's not what's cracked up the way. So the artwork is fine, to be honest. It's just the backing that was like, this is not worth the full price. If it was full price, I feel like it's not worth full price. But yeah, because the way it was presented, and the packaging that came in it, I was there going, that's not worth full price. Like, it's not worth the price it was if it was full price. This is first impressions, this is my review, all that stuff. I'm allowed to have an opinion, okay? So don't come after me. Like, all his other stuff is great, I'm gonna say that. All of his other stuff is great, just I was there going, that's not worth the full price that you have up there. But yeah, the backing was a bit hit or miss, because it looks like it's someone who got Google pictures and just stuck it on, rather than making it really clean and crisp like the front. This is the Magician, which is Dorian. The first one here is Red Jenny, or Sarah. That's her name, Sarah. She's an elf. Doesn't go by elf rules, basically. This is Dorian. He's the openly gay character in the game, and I love that. He doesn't give a shit. He's just like, yes, what of it? And he'll start flirting with you, whether you are male or female, which is gas. So that's just his like nature. He just flirts, no matter what he says. So that's the Magician, which is perfect for him. Now we have the Hanged Man, which is Sarah. But this is the tarot card would change in the game depending on the choices you make for that character. So if you say, I don't know what happens with this one because I've never actually opened this storyline, but if you tell Sarah to kill someone, I think she becomes this, there's a certain person she kills or something like that, and she becomes this card from now on in your party. So when you go to pick her to bring her out to missions, this is the card that will appear in the character pick menu. This is Lady Vivian. She is a royal enchantress, and she's the High Priestess. The High Priestess, given that it is all about choices, she is this, I'm gonna say, she's the character-wise, she's a bitch. Character-wise, she's a bitch. But, High Priestess-wise, she does make sense, because she gives you a very logical, you'll say, if you pick a choice, an answer for a question she has, and you think, how would I react to that as normal? She goes, well, no, that's not quite right. This is how it should be. And then it gives you the other choice. Oh, Solus, the Hierophant. Solus is like a very wise and he's not ancient, but he's very well, not he's knowledgeable elf. He knows his shit. Like, if you needed something or a question about the magic that's going on in the world, you would go to him and just talk to him about that, and he knows his shit. Like, so given that he's the Hierophant, that actually makes sense. The Emperor, I actually do not know who the Emperor is. It looks like Princess Celine, I believe, but I don't think it is Princess Celine. I will double check that. The Empress is... I actually don't know who the Empress is. Some of these cards I didn't see in the game because I never got those storylines open, so hence the cards were never unlocked. This is Blackwall, who is a... Oh my god, what the hell? I know what they are. Oh, they're like a group of knights defending people from... Oh, it's like this people who are affected by the plague, Darkspawn. Oh my god, it's going to annoy me. But basically, Blackwall is this rogue knight going along. I'm going to say a knight because it's going to annoy me. I'm saying knight, and then when I'm finished, I'm like, he's a... Grey Warden! He's a Grey Warden! There we go. He's a Grey Warden. Grey Wardens are like a group of knights that go along and help people defend off the Darkspawn, which are people who are affected by the blight and then become these creatures. So they're like plague zombies, basically, but they have a sense of what they need to do and stuff. Blackwall, however, has this backstory that's quite sad. So when the Grey Wardens go missing, everyone's like, why are you not going missing? Why are you not hearing this spell that's being casted on them and such like that? And then it goes from there. The Chariot is Dorian. Again, so Dorian actually makes sense for a chariot as well. Given the paths you choose during the game, this card for him makes sense because it's where if you're a male character in it, and you pick him as your romantic partner, this is what the card changes to, because he's giving you his heart, basically. That's his, I don't know if he doesn't give you the flower in the game, but I know that's what it does, so it's like he's giving it to you. He calls you his Amatus, which is the language that he speaks from, oh my god, I haven't played it in so long. Tevinter. He's from Tevinter, so that's the language he speaks. He speaks Tevinterian. Tevinterian or Tevinterish? Whatever language. But it's like that's the kingdom of just mages, and mages rule. And whereas the south, he's from the north, whereas the south are all they believe in a different divine, and the north believe in a male divine, and the south believe in a female divine. And they're all like, oh yeah, the south has the light divine, whereas the north has the black divine, and they think it's this huge storyline in it, and it's really cool, like how there was tarot cards involved in the thing. Basically, don't get sidetracked. Dorian makes sense for the chariot because he is slowly opening up to you when this card shows up, because you're slowly opening up to him in a romantic sense. The Lovers actually makes perfect sense. In the sense of Rider-Waite-Smith, it doesn't, because there's no lovers, there's no two people intertwining, there's all that stuff. Whereas this is Varric, who's a dwarf, and this is his crossbow, Bianca. And he loves his crossbow. Like, it's like his partner, in a way. The way he talks about it is like a person, and later on you actually meet the real Bianca. The real life dwarf lady. Yep, that's when you just go, Bianca, like the crossbow? Like what? Oh, and she doesn't know that the crossbow's named Bianca, so there's a whole plot twist there. Strength is Cassandra. Cassandra is a seeker, and she is she left the Seekers because of what they were doing originally, and how they were torturing mages in the south. This is this story takes in the south part of the country where they are, or the continent. And the sad part is that she left because she didn't like how they were making them tranquil. Tranquil is where you take the magic off a mage during a torturous and kind of torturous procedure through magic to take magic out of their system, and they have a tattoo then on their head to show that they are tranquil. She left because of that, because she goes, no, this is not the way to go. This is not what we do. Seekers are there to control mages by telling them to follow the rules, not punish them for breaking them. And that she left because she didn't like how the mage rebellion started, and the reason why that could have been prevented. The Wheel of Fortune is Iron Bull after he's betrayed his own kind. He is a Kunari, which is a tall being with horns. Now he's the only one that has horns like fused to his skull in a way, whereas the rest are like have them stuck up, like his horns are separate to their skull, whereas he's like used his head so much to crash through things, it's hardened up. And this is after a mission where you, as his friend, had to make a choice to save his friends he's been travelling with when you find him. Like it's so sad. Or you have to save his friends who've been travelling with him when you do find him and ask him to join you. Or you pick the Chargers, that's what they're called. The group of friends he has are called the Chargers, so it's Iron Bull and his Chargers. Hey. The Chargers are like a group of mercenaries, like they're diverse as hell. Like there's a Tevinter girl, there's a Dalish, which is a elf, there's dwarfs, there's humans. It's so diverse, but that's what I loved about it. That they didn't care where they all came from. You're just here to be hired, and they're about to be ambushed by Tevinter, a Tevinter kind of group of mages that are out to just ruin everything. And basically you make the choice to save them or carry on with the mission and let the Kunari, his type, come in and stop the Tevinter rogue mages. And this is the choice if you picked to save the Chargers. And you see all the Kunari are dead. So this is the Wheel of Fortune, so it's the choices you make. I'm sorry if I'm rambling on this, it's just so you can make sense of the cards. This is why I was putting this one off, because I knew it was going to be so long. The Hermit is Solus again, but this is where Solus is where you first meet him. So he's closed off, his hood's up, like unlike the Hierophant where his hood's down, he's like opening up to nature and stuff, whereas this one he's closed off, he's keeping himself to himself. You're not finding out anything about him yet because he doesn't trust you yet, so that makes sense for the Hermit. The Sun is Varric again, but he's reading. Funny fact about Varric, other than owning a crossbow named after an ex, he's an author. I find that so funny. He's an author, and he's a dwarf that's an author. I just find that gas. I don't know why. He's just, when you first meet him, you don't think that. And then you find out a really cool thing about him. So the sun makes sense because of the sun in the background here. He's chilling out reading. Perfect. Yeah, perfect. Judgment is Blackwall, riding on the griffin that is his symbol. He's a Grey Warden, but his symbol and crest is a griffin, to symbolise how he... Oh, it's actually a two-headed griffin. Actually, sorry. It symbolises him as he grows in the game, how he doesn't go... He's not as like, oh yes, I am a noble Grey Warden. He actually just accepts who he is and his past and the choices he's made. And these are just the undead in the mission you pick. And if you brought him along, this is what happens when the cards change, because he takes that judgment that the mayor did. The mayor makes a choice of how to save people from the plague. So he puts the dam up and blocks the dam and lets the water overflow and flood the old town. And you find all the undead. Very sad. The world. there's, again, some cards, or there's so many, I'm going to sneeze. There's so many cards in this. Oh, excuse me. There are so many cards in this that you don't. I never found all of them in the game, like during the loading screen, or opened, as I said, open that storyline. So I have no idea who the world is. So I don't know how to explain this one. But yeah, it's actually quite a nice card. I'll look up who they are and stuff. The Tower. It's Solus again. Solus plays a big part in the game. You may not think it at the start. It's just an elf, whatever. If you carry him on during the game, your friendship grows with him. If you ignore him, you don't grow a friendship. And at the end of the game, you get this consequence, or one of the consequences of not befriending him, or just going against everything he says and not listening to him. He becomes there's an ancient elf story called the Dreadwolf, and he has some connection to that. I'm not going to say how or why, but this storyline opens up for the next chapter of the game, and we don't know when that's coming out, or when it's. I know it's in development, but it won't be out for a few years because games take ages, especially like open world and customization ones. I don't blame them for taking that long. But yeah, this is the Dreadwolf. It's a tower effect, so depending on how you treat Solus in the game, this is another outcome. It's a sudden change, it's a sudden shift, and the events that start at the start of the game make sense at the end of the game because of Solus. So you have to listen in the game. If you ever did play the game Dragon Age Inquisition, you need to listen to Solus a lot. I didn't do that for 2 characters and I regret. And then another one, I punched him, which I shouldn't have. And now I know the ending and I'm like, oh no, I regret that decision. That's the whole point of the game, is like you live with the consequences. Anyway, the star is Sarah as Red Jenny. This is another one where you first meet her. So this is the primary card, I would say. As when you character select them, this is when you first meet them. The star makes sense. It's her arrow shining and giving hope, and she's an amazing archer in the game. That's as long as you skill her up as well, she'll get better. But yeah, I think that makes sense. It's like she gives hope for the little people. She's like the Robin Hood of the game, which is kind of nice. The moon is Cole, who is a boy who was lost, and then he speaks weirdly, in a weird way. Weirdly, I don't know. He speaks like he has wisdom in him, but he's too young to have that. And then you start noticing, not everyone can see Cole. Not everyone can see him. Only certain people can. And I need some water home. And you unlock his story, and you find out he's also a mage. But he's a rogue when you find him. So his class is rogue. So he likes daggers. He likes sneaking around. His story is that he was a mage. He was tortured and all that stuff because of the rebellion happening. And he was locked away, and he asked for help. And the veil, which is the curtain between our world and the spirit world, a spirit came through of compassion and helped Cole. And as he died, it took his body and became him. Hence why he's like this weird, he's like stepping in, making that path choice of stepping out of the darkness and onto the stone. And I actually never knew there was a lobster there. So that's actually quite cool. There's a lobster. I think there's no lobster here. I'm not quite sure. But I will check on the actual in the game. That's going to be interesting to see. The death card is Blackwall. Makes perfect sense because he goes through a change of accepting his past. His name isn't Blackwall, it's a name he took on, and you find out his past name, which is Tom Rainer, and you find out more about Tom Rainer, and it's very sad. It's like he lets go of the persona to accept himself, but this only comes up if you are his romantic interest. I don't know if it I've tried doing it when you're just his friend, and it won't open up that story path. I'm sorry if this is like, once we get to the suits, it won't be 20 minutes. Jesus. So we have Temperance, which is Cassandra. Makes sense. She's trying to find the balance between good and bad and following her heart over her duty. So it makes sense. Her hand is in the darkness here. Her hand is holding the cup. Makes perfect sense. The devil is Iron Bull. This is how you meet Iron Bull. He's very alluring as a character. She's like, how are you going to benefit me? How is this? And then, like, if you're a Canary character like him, like you pick the creature that he is, the species, your relationship changes slightly because he's judging you on your species, which is him. And you're like, but you're a Canary like me. He goes, yeah, but I actually follow our religion, not you. So, and he judges you on that. So, but if you're a human, he's like, oh yeah, you're a human. So cool. Yeah, that kind of thing. Okay, now we're on to the minors. The fun thing about this deck is it actually has the suits for a playing card game. So if you wanted to just take them out and use them as a playing card game, or for the Leomard. Anyway, just gonna go through this. So we're on to staffs. So wands. Oof. Very grim. Let's just flip through these because they're all. The majors were the ones that I needed to get through, which made sense. These are all like the creatures you find in the game and the demons you come across. A lava demon is an 8 of swords. It's 8 of wands, which makes sense. They just charge at you. 9 of wands is a archdemon. Good lord, I have not come across that one. That's a 10 of wands. Cole is the page of wands. It's where he accepts his humanity, I think, or his spirit. This is where he accepts his spirit side. Knight of Wands. I actually don't know who the Knight of Wands is. Interesting. The Queen of Wands is Morgana, who is a witch in the game that you come across. She's like, you know too much. You're like, how do you know too much? That's what you think of her. The King of Wands is, I think it's an archdemon, just in kind of this geometric shape. Now we're on to swords. That is the sword for your army or mercenaries. 2 swords is the rogue class. So if you pick a rogue, that's the class. 3 swords. 4 swords. This is like the difficulty level. So this is what would pick it. Oh, I wanted really hard. 5 swords. So if you pick rogue, this will also be part of it. Archery. 6 of swords. 7 of swords. Oh, it's just beheaded knight. 8 of swords. 9 of swords. 10 of swords is the Canary army. Oh, Canary. What? Oh, he's black. Oh, yeah, this is where he picks his humanity over his spirituality. I was like, what? Why is Cole the same? This is where Cole picks his humanity over his spirituality, his spirit self. We have the Knight of Swords, who is Cullen. Cullen, he's beautiful. Beautiful. Queen of Swords is Liliana. She's your spy master in the game. She's also a nun. I love that, she's a nun. King of Swords looks like it's just the Inquisition symbol. I can't really figure out what that is. Sometimes you can. Orlais. Oh, the coins are Orlais, so this makes sense. Orlais is the town, the big city that's all money and pretty things, and they want to wear gold masks and think they're pretty and tell secrets, so makes sense. They get secrets for money. Ace of coins. 2 of coins. I think that's if you're a human and you just pick warrior category. Same. Warrior category, and you're a dwarf. I think this is if you're a dwarf. 3 of coins. 4 coins if you're picking an elf class. Same thing. 5 coins. 6 of coins is if you're picking a canary. That's a female canary, and this is the male canary. 8 of coins. Trying to pick in your, maybe if you're picking religious states over money, it's interesting. 9 of coins. 10 coins. I was like, what is happening there? He's tied up and he's licking a hand. I don't know. Page of coins is Varric when... I can't remember what happens. I've had this card come up, but I can't remember the storyline. I think he finds out... Oh, it's Red Lyrium. Red Lyrium's this crystal that is in the game. And it comes up when there's dark magic around. And it's red, and if you're near it for too long, you go mad with it, or you become... the crystal eats off you. So, it's kind of sad. Knight of coins. Doesn't really say who the Knight of coins is, just the claw. Queen of coins is Josephine, who is your coin master, which makes sense, or your what's the word? Ambassador. That's the word. He's your ambassador. That was the knight. I don't know who the knight was. Sorry. King of coins is a dragon. Makes sense. A dragon covered in gold. Cups. Ace of cups. Oh, 2 of cups. So, see, this is the other thing about this deck. The majors make perfect sense. The minors don't really follow the suits of Rider-Waite very well. 4 of cups. This is the head of the mage. The mage mafia from Tevinter. I can't remember their name. The name they gave each other. It's on the tip of my tongue. It's gonna annoy me. 5 of cups. 6 of cups. 7 of cups. 8 of cups. 9 of cups. 10 of cups. I'm flipping through these because some of them I don't know. All the page of cups is Dorian. That makes perfect sense again for Dorian. Because he's still learning his emotions. He's never been in love before. If you're a male character and pursue him, this opens up a bit this card, which shows that he's he's like, oh, I like this, but I'm really scared, and that's why the snake's there, because he's really scared about it. The Knight of Cups is Corypheus. Wow. Corypheus when he was a human. Ooh, that's another story. Queen of Cups is Vivian, who's the high priestess. This is when she decides to let her lover die, sadly. And King of Cups is Corypheus when he's a darkspawn. So this is the big villain in the game. It's the King of Cups, which is weird, I think, because I would have seen him as a King of Swords. The King of Cups, though, is more like emotionally satisfied and stuff, but he does not do that. Yeah, so I think this is more of a deck where it's just for show. I do not think it's worth the full price, given how it was presented and stuff. So I'm just going to give it a quick shuffle, if I can. See how they shuffle? Do the shuffle. They shuffle fine. They're absolutely fine. Can you scoot together, please? There you go. Yeah, they shuffle fine. I think it's just because I'm thinking of the full price. This is not worth the full price. It's worth the on sale price. 6 of Wands as the card this deck's lesson. I don't know. I think it's just because I'm not going to read the card. I'm just going to talk about the deck. I've been talking about it for half an hour. Like, Jesus. I feel like this deck is not worth the full price. I'm just going to keep saying that. The bag is fine. It's just, watch this. Look, when you try and put it back in, bet you as I do, it's going to do fine, go in fine. You're trying to put it in, you have to lie down flat. But then you also have to loop, like this doesn't, looks like it won't fit. So you kind of force it in, and as I force it in, I'm bending the cards. If you don't want to bend the cards, do you know? And if you're spending like 200 quid on it, you think you get more for 200 quid, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? But I didn't get it for that. I got it for like on sale, which is still. Anyway, I'm going to leave that there. I'll leave it there. I'll leave that there, guys, and I will see you all next time.